welcome back to another episode of Forbidden Depths. I'm your host, Queen Frostbitten, and we're here today to get down, dirty, and sultry by staying open, educated, consensual, and safe. If you're returning, welcome back to another episode. Thanks for supporting the channel and its growth. If, of course, you're new here, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe, because one taste will never be enough. Awesome. So thank you guys again for joining us today for another episode of Forbidden Depths. Today, we're going to do some dissecting, and I'm so excited to have Mistress Rogue be the person that's going to help us with looking at that. So again, go ahead. She's been a guest on the podcast before. If you don't follow her already, make sure you do. It's at Mistress Rogue FL on Twitter.
For Florida.
Yes, for Florida. So she also has an amazing space. If you want to become part of her, let me ask you what you consider yourself for your dungeon. Like me, like you, a lot of people like a stable, you're a horse in my stable. I'm more of a kennel kind of dom. Like you're a puppy in my kennel. What do you do?
Well, that's an interesting question. Thank you for asking, by the way, because things, continuously changing and evolving and all that stuff. Yeah. We started out as a kind of like a house, a house of girls. We were all kind of trying to figure it out and stuff like that.
Right.
Working together as doms, learning from each other. And I think now we're all kind of evolving into kind of each of us are doing our own thing.
Right.
So the Domme house currently is evolving into a brand in a venue, in a space for people to come in and film and do their sessions and play. It's some sort of like kink oasis, I want to call it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's not like at the beginning I was indeed like headmistress of the Domme house. I guess I still am. But I feel like now I'm more of a host and kind of like, the creator of it.
Right.
More than just like the leader of a group or anything like that. That's like not really happening anymore.
Right. Okay. So it's kind of like a mutual partnership, and you're the overseer just to make sure everything goes the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I know we kind of touched lightly on it the last time we talked, kind of how you developed your dungeon and stuff. So what was the main inspiration for you wanting your own space?
I can't work under anyone else's space. I am just, I guess you could say I'm a little bit of a control freak. Like I like coming into a space and have all the tools organized the way that I think works best.
Right.
And I think that's just something that you can only achieve when you have your own space. I've gone to, and I think it's awesome when a domain or a dom or a top or anything goes into somebody else's space and is able to just kind of like walk through and just kind of use everything. But to me, I feel like I'm so connected and involved with every item that I have in the dungeon because I put it there.
Right.
That is like my house. So when clients and subs come into my dungeon, it's basically like coming into my place. It's just my place. Yeah. That's how I see it. So I don't know how they do it. The inspiration to me is I want to do some kinky stuff in the safest way possible, in the cleanest way possible.
Yes.
With quality toys, because I've gone to some dungeons and then they have some like really low quality tools. And I'm just like, I can't suspend with this really suspicious looking rope here.
Right. That's a safety issue, right?
Yeah. So I guess it's kind of a way to quality control and safety control everything that I do, because at the end of the day, like if someone gets hurt, that's like a lot of trouble, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's like physical, mental, and financial strain all in one.
Financial, I don't want that.
Yeah. Right.
I've had some funny accidents at the dungeon, but thankfully nothing major. So like,
Right.
and it's because it was on my place. I know what I was doing. I knew where like
Mm-hmm.
first aid kit was. Some other places don't have a first aid kit. Like,
Yeah.
it can be sketchy. It's just
Yeah.
it's a little bit a sketchy, could be a
Right.
sketchy line there.
And not everyone is as informed. Like, if you're listening to this podcast and you know anything about contacting or interacting with multiple DOMs, everybody has their own way of doing stuff, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason they do stuff a certain way. It's because they have certain information available to them. Maybe other people didn't have that available. Maybe they don't
Yeah.
have first aid available to them. Maybe they've never had like a first aid course. So I myself think that everyone, whether you're a Dom, whether you're a top and you don't consider yourself a Dom, if you're like a switch, you play any role, if you are a submissive, regardless of where you fall on the spectrum, I feel like first aid classes can help you regardless. What do you think about first aid?
I think so too. Actually, this year I don't think I can go. Financially, I have like goals and stuff that just require me to save every little dollar I get
Right.
into my financial goals for like retirement stuff. But this year, DomCon LA is offering a CPR certification, which I wanted to attend.
Yeah.
And it's just given by the professionals there, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that the fact that they're offering that and like advocating for safety is so important.
Yes,
you
100%.
know it's one of the things that made me feel like the real community is indeed on top of that stuff, and that's so
Yes.
refreshing to see.
Yes. And I've interacted with DOMs that both know how to do first aid kind of stuff and
Hmm.
then ones that don't. So I'm not trying to like shame anyone. I'm just suggesting in order for you to be safe, educated, everything to be consensual and be where it needs to be, because there's always that what if, right?
Yeah, I feel like somebody who doesn't know like basics of first aid should not be doing like extreme kinks.
Yes.
You shouldn't be sticking needles in anyone's genitals, and you
Right.
shouldn't be opening some wounds, and you shouldn't be drawing blood, and you shouldn't
Right.
be doing a lot of etch play. And it's true, not every dom is like hardcore, that they don't
Mm-hmm.
all need to,
Right.
like what are the possibilities someone like gets injured, getting etched,
Yeah. Right.
but it can happen. So
Yeah.
I think it's important for sure.
Yes. Yes. 100%. I do too. So now you don't have to go to like a big kink event to get first aid certified. Anybody that doesn't
No.
know, you can literally just contact someone in your local community, and they can give you more information. Even if it's like a health department, they can give you information about first aid courses. Also, I know the Red Cross does a lot. That's where I got certified, through the Red Cross, because they do like
Mhm.
traveling teams where they have classes held at like schools, or I think the last course I took was with it was some school function. There was a school function that was local and they were having CPR courses. So they do that a lot whenever it's around school settings, because teachers aides, people like that, they need to know first aid too.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be involved in an environment where you're teaching or you're doing something like that with someone, which is kink too, then you
Yeah.
need to be educated, you
Oh,
know?
absolutely. I think so. Yeah, for sure.
That's what
I
I thought
agree.
as well. So that kind of leads me to one of the biggest conversations that I wanted to have today about
Mhm.
impact play. So first aid, I feel, is extremely important, especially if you're doing the heavier impact play,
Mhm.
because it's one of those things you have to know how to take care of the submissive. You have to know how to have those pre-negotiation terms and then the aftercare that follows. So kind of tell me what your process looks like whenever you are talking to someone, doing the negotiating side, And then after, of course, all of the impact play, and you're kind of, so it will be a new sub, someone that you haven't been exposed to
Okay,
before.
yeah.
So you're kind of finding your way around.
Right. So if I were to describe my process when meeting somebody new, I don't know how everyone else does it, but I usually keep it quite business over the email.
Right.
I don't talk a lot other than, the booking process. Are you sending a deposit? Are you sending a consultation fee? Great. Tell me more or less what you're looking for. Do not be too specific. I like to keep things vague for safety, but once the person, takes that leap of trust, a leap of faith, as you would say, come into the dungeon and, very nervous, very like a little anxious, but excited. Like you can tell every single person comes in and then they're like, oh God, what's going to happen? There's not a lot, there has not been a lot of talking and stuff.
Some people get sweaty. I know.
Oh yeah.
And that's normal. Like, don't think
like
that.
It. Yeah. I'm like, be nervous.
Yeah. So don't think that if you're one of those people that like sweat or something that we're going to be like, ooh, you're gross, get out. No.
Oh no, when they come in, the first thing, I will open the door and I'll be like, hi, how are you? What's your name? Confirm your name with me. So I'm not opening the door to some rando.
Yeah.
And then, okay, once I verify it's them, I just, break the ice a little bit. And I'm like, how are you feeling? Are you okay? And they're like, yeah, fine. I'm just a little nervous. And I just, I like to tease them around a little bit. And I'm like, okay, that's a good thing. Would you like some water?
Right.
Like it's very intimidating. But once they cross that door, I make sure that they feel comfortable.
Yes.
And safe, because, somebody's going to put, their hands on them. So, the first thing that I do is just sit on my table. Just sit and talk face to face. I offer them some water. I get some water too. I like to get hydrated before I jump in because, it's exercise basically. I'm working out.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm not complaining.
A marathon. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Some days I feel like I ran a marathon.
Yes, of course. I love it. And then I just asked them if it's the first time, and let's say it is their first time. And I usually, when it's someone's first time, I do like a tasting, and I kind of like explain a little bit what toys do what,
right,
and how they feel.
Right.
And I make sure to explain to them that they have a safe word and they can stop me anytime.
Right.
And encourage them to use their safe words, not just safe words to stop, but safe words to indicate that they're having a great time and that they want more intensity.
Yes.
Because everyone's threshold is different.
And it doesn't have to be like a crazy word. Like you don't have to come out saying like onomatopoeia. Like that's not realistic. Like,
yeah,
like something
it depends on the vibe. It depends on the vibe that somebody gives me. If somebody gives me a vibe that they might be like there enough to just have a very simple safe word, like usually mercy is a safe word that basically only means to like kind of slow down and like, chill out a little bit. Right. Maybe I'll give them that depending on what I'm going to do. But if it's somebody new, I just use like standard traffic system, red, yellow, green. Green for good, more, yellow for stop a little bit, slow down, maybe change something, and red for complete stop, check with me, this is not working. Yeah. I usually try to drive people up to the edge of yellow. Right. And I think that impact play it's all about reading the bottom's body. Yes. There's like two types of bottoms. There's like gray bottoms, and then there's the shy bottoms that they need a little work. You know, I think this is maybe if like, you know, possible subs or clients are watching, there's like a type of bottom, there's like a behavior that is really difficult to work with. And that's when, let's say I have a person on the St. Andrew's cross, and you know they're like straddled like this, and I'm just going right, and I'm like changing the intensity and like, you know, harder, and they're just
not moving, not doing anything, no language. Yeah,
like nothing.
Yeah,
I'm
no
like,
body language.
Do you like this?
Yeah.
Is it good? Is it bad? Like,
yeah.
Can you give me something?
Yeah. And we encourage that you need to communicate somehow. You know what I mean? Like, how are we supposed to know how to continue, or if maybe you need some harder or softer impact play, like we need that communication.
Yes. And sometimes I'll be so surprised, and I'm thinking we did this like maybe an introductory 1 hour session, and the person wanted lots of impact and stuff, and then we're done, right? And this whole time I don't know if they liked it, if they enjoyed it, and then at the end they're like, thank you so much, Mistress, that was amazing. And I'm like, sure, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Got lucky, I guess.
Yeah.
See, like, that's, please,
it's kind of confusing. Yeah,
feedback. I need some feedback.
And the power exchange, right? So if you don't let the person that is topping you know, then there's not that power exchange. There's just me doing my thing, or you doing your thing, or you receiving that. And then at the end, you're like, oh, well, that was an amazing experience. Well, I didn't get to feel the amazing part because I didn't know what was happening with you.
Yeah.
Like the power exchange is where you find that middle ground so that it's like an incentive.
Yes. Right? Yeah. So we both can either be very reactive, you know, I'll be maybe laughing and feeling that sadist side of me, and they will be like, you know, moaning and like really feeling the sensation of the whip or whatever I'm using. Or they can also be, which is equally enjoyable, a bottom that I can see his body moving or their body moving, and I can kind of tap into more of a flow in which I'm not really talking, I'm just doing,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
And those two worlds are absolutely fucking beautiful, both. But there is one thing in common, a connection.
Yes.
And that connection does not have to be verbal.
Right.
It can be just a body movement, a body, like, you know, like a back arc, like,
yes.
I don't know. It's just, you need to communicate, because like going inwards, I know that a lot of subs will naturally go inwards, but if you know that you will go inwards, at least kind of like tell me.
Yeah, beforehand, right.
You know, I can totally work with somebody if they come in and they're like, Mistress, I get very quiet, but if I will enjoy it, and if it is not good, I'll let you know.
Right.
That helps me, you know?
Yeah.
Just some sort of communication.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's huge, right? So I know whenever I first got into the art aspect, you know, whenever I was transitioning from real life to like online stuff, I'm like, why does no one ever film the before and after? Everybody just gets like the middle segment. So if you're watching like something on Pornhub or like clip sales or something like that, you don't get to see all of the negotiations that happen before, the communication, and then you don't get to see the aftercare. So there's this stigma like, oh, well, you're not allowed to talk about it. You just show up and stuff happens and then you just leave. No.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is because especially on the more extreme side, right? From I wanna claim that the viewer who is looking for a specific kink, they're not looking for like the emotional value of it. I think that a lot of the audience is just looking to get off watching something.
Right.
but there are a lot of creators that will, you know, add that little spice, and I like to do that too. You know,
Yes.
I like to film something and then either show some like bloopers,
Mm-hmm.
or something like lighthearted, and I like to show pictures or video, like a short video or picture of
Yep.
aftercare.
Yes.
Aftercare can also be very like vulnerable, like maybe sometimes like there will be some subs or bottoms or slaves that they don't want to be seen
Mm.
in that very like
In that light.
deep
Right.
subspace aftercare vibe, and you know, you know, needs to be respected as well.
Yes.
But
100%.
you bring a very valid point there.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
And like not everyone that appears in the performing kind of situations are performers. So people not being comfortable or confident in front of a camera, that makes sense. But
mhm.
at the end of the day, I feel like, especially like civilian people in the vanilla life that don't really know the ins and the
Yes.
outs of BDSM, they get into it
Yeah.
and then they don't practice that stuff and it ends up being some kind of like abusive situation. And that's not what we're about at
Mhm.
all.
No,
The
not at
only
all.
the only time I'm going to be like extremely hard or abusive is if someone is paying me to be, right?
Right,
Like,
and they consented, like that is part of the
yes.
scene. I get what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
important to show, you know, I feel like we should totally like advocate for that stuff. Like
Yeah.
maybe you see a really cool video and then you're like, where's the aftercare?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
be like, oh, okay, people want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
And it's not for everyone. I'm not saying that everyone is forced to kind of do it, but what I'm saying is anybody that's listening today that doesn't really know the process, whenever you jump into BDSM, you want to make sure that everybody talks about everything, right? Because we do want
Absolutely.
to make it a consensual environment. That was
Oh
like
yeah.
the huge blow up that Pornhub had with all of the crazy stuff that went on, you know, like, oh, they had to take down a
Like
huge
2
fraction.
million videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
it
it's
was either,
because there wasn't consent.
yeah,
There
it
were
was
no
either,
documents. There were people that were kidnapped. You hear
yes,
about that stuff? There was a
yes.
girl that was kidnapped and she was abducted by this a bunch of guys,
Mm-hmm.
and they had her in a house or something, and they were filming porn. Her mom found her
Yeah,
through the porn videos.
yeah. Which
Like,
is, I mean, I'm thankful that she found her, obviously, but I
yes, of
mean,
course, but like
imagine how traumatizing.
the trauma, how do you get out of the house after that?
Yeah, yeah,
And I think that, you know, like it's just it's hard for sex workers and makes it harder for sex workers. But at
yeah.
the end of the day, like we all need to put those IDs up there.
Yes, 100%, 100%. And
Hmm.
I feel like they should have never, no one should have ever been able to post anything anywhere without having valid ID anyway. Like
That's
that's
what I'm
rule number
saying.
one.
How was that allowed?
Yeah. Like that's
Look,
number one
it's a
rule.
little loophole.
Regardless of whether they're making money or not, you should still have to say, hey, this is me, I'm real, and I'm willing to, like, if something happens on my account or from me, I'm willing to face the consequences. Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, we were already doing that.
Yeah,
We were already putting our
exactly.
IDs up. You know what I mean? So why do these people that don't follow the same rules as us, why would they get to post anyway? Whether they're making money or not, they shouldn't be allowed to post. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the other thing is like it's so hard to actually get videos taken down. And not just
Oh
because
yeah.
of one platform. It will go on one platform and it will go on every platform possible.
Yes.
Like once it hits the internet, it's gonna be in the internet forever. There's
Yeah.
no way to take it down.
And people do pirating. So even if you do get it
Hmm.
taken down from, like, say you got it taken down from like 10 fucking websites, there's no guarantee that it won't pop back up a month later or a week later.
Yeah. Yeah. Even on my even on the content that's behind a paywall, I consider those ad a very realistic risk of some hater buying the thing and just put it off free or whatever. Like, I am expecting that to happen any moment, and I'm okay with that.
Well, my biggest thing is back whenever OnlyFans got really, really big, in the beginning, everybody was like, oh, I'm gonna
Not
go
anymore.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get all of this content from these people and then sell it on mine. So they went and stole all this content from these people.
My God.
And then they would put it all on their page and be like, oh, well, you can just pay $1 to get in and you can see everything that I paid like $5 or $10 a month for. And I'm just like, one, that's fucking illegal. That's pirating content.
There would be a lot of Redditors doing this. It's nasty. It's nasty. Yeah. I've totally seen that.
There was somebody that
how vicious.
Listen, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, if you're so hell-bent on making money in the adult industry, go into it yourself, because I'm gonna tell you, there's somebody out there for everyone, right? You're always going to have an audience somewhere. It doesn't matter if you are disabled. I'm going to tell you, there is a ton of people that are into disabled play.
Like, absolutely. There's a kink for everything. I mean,
yeah, you don't have to steal from someone else. Like, you can literally make your own shit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no reason. There's no reason to do that. Please, just make your own.
Like,
it'll sell, I promise.
100%. Well, it'll sell if you put work into it.
That's
because
true.
Not everyone wants to do that work. You know what I mean?
If I had $1 for every person that wants, like, oh, you're doing OnlyFans? Teach me how to do it. Like, I'm sure I can learn in 2 days. Oh my God.
Or they think they're going to be like millionaires in like a month. Like, where are you getting your information?
That's funny. I mean, I've been doing OnlyFans. I have been on OnlyFans since 2019, and I've made an okay amount of money there. But I feel like since I started, it's only now that I've been getting more serious about the online stuff.
Right.
And listen, I've been doing this since 2019, so it's like a few years. It's not like a few months.
Right. Yeah.
You have to make the content, edit the content, get model releases,
and that's exhausting.
Get just outfits on. Think about the content you're gonna create. Like, does it have a purpose, or is it just sexy? Like,
right.
There's so much that goes into it. It's hard work. I love it. I'm all about it, but it is hard work. For sure.
And it's investing in your brand, right? So
yeah. By the way, this is my logo.
I was gonna ask you about it. I fucking love it. Tell me how you developed it.
Well, as you know, let me get comfy. As you know, this is my little new brand logo I made. I'm a graphic designer, so I made it myself. Really proud of it. Let me get close to you.
Yeah, so, show me all of it. Show me
right here. This is basically Mistress Rogue's brand, and also the tattoo that my slaves get.
Right.
So this shape here is it's like a bat shape, because that's my spirit animal, of course. Have the horns, because you have to have the horns.
Right.
The feminine symbol, and the goddess, the moons, and inside is what's the name of it? Is it the circle of life? I can't remember the name of it. You can tell it here. It's like that perfect shape.
Yeah.
It basically means that once someone has this brand on them, because originally I designed it to be on someone's skin. It's basically mean it'll be protected by like the goddess energy, and that comes into when I am their mistress.
Right.
So yeah, so that's my brand. Like, you see that anywhere? Mistress Rogue.
Yeah. It's like safety above everything else. And
it's
there
protection.
are a lot of people that need that like sense of home, almost like belonging.
Yes, even though I look very hardcore sometimes and I'll do very like intense scenes. I was actually talking to my slave yesterday. There's like the very like dark schools of Domes, and then there's like the more healer nurturing. And even though I am very hard in like the things that I like to do and the kinks, I'm very intense, very primal and all that stuff. I'm very much on that like healing, guiding, like nurturing.
Like a balance of like green witch and sorceress.
Yes, I guess I don't have like that malice when it comes to like take advantage of people if they're not into it,
Yeah.
Usually try to find a middle ground, like what can you offer me and in exchange for my guidance.
Yeah.
But it's all in a very positive like vibe. I'm not here like trash talking you for no reason as you like open the chat like fuck you bitch, give me your money because you're worthless. Like, like if they ask me for it, great, that's fine. But like it's more of like tell me your deepest secrets and how can I make you feel something very intense based on that, kind of. It's more of like a dream and come true.
It's like compatibility. You have to have compatibility for both of you to enjoy it, right?
I do, yeah, because if there's not that connection and I feel a little bit like a fetish dispenser, and don't get me wrong, I'm a great fetish dispenser. Like I'm a fucking walking dictionary. Like, do you know how to? Yes. But I want to do it in a way that like I'm having fun, they're having fun. I don't feel used. I don't want to feel used.
It's more than a job.
It's way more. Yeah, for sure.
Because we want to feel like we want to be there, and we want you to feel like that too, right?
I also want to feel like I did something of value for you.
Yeah.
You're
a fucking therapist.
Yeah.
That's what I consider myself.
Like a little witchy coach.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So, actually, I wanted to show you, before I forget, I want to show you this flogger that my colleague Mistress Mercy made, got me for as a gift. I don't use it very much. She gave me this.
What material is that? Is that leather?
This is wood. This is Mistress Rogue. And I think this is like paracord.
Okay.
It's one of those cutesy custom-made floggers, but since flogging is like my jam, I think she gave this to me as a Christmas gift or as a birthday gift. I just wanted to show it off because it's so cute.
Oh, I love it. So that was actually going to be my next question. So whenever you're doing impact play, what are your favorite implements?
Ooh, let me see if I got some here. Hold up. Yes. So my favorite are the floggers. I like to start with the floggers. I don't want to scare them out too soon. Because it's very easy to scare them out. But I'm going to show you basically what I used to begin with. And I'm going to show you another flogger that I got made for me by a really cool brand called Unique Kink.
Okay.
They made this custom made flogger. You can't really see it in this light, but it says Mistress Rogue, and right here has the symbol as well, the same one. And it's like black and gold, really nice leather. It's very thick. So I like using something like this for a beginner because it hits really softly, really. It just makes more noise than anything.
Yeah, right.
So this is one of my favorite to begin with. Then we have the famous, really, everything's black apparently here.
Yeah.
So here you have it. This is just a basic
Mm-hmm.
suede flogger. Can take a lot of use, really.
Right.
And it's just very light.
Yeah.
Actually, it's like a medium. It's medium weight. And I like
Mm.
to use this to start up and, kind of build up that
Mm-hmm.
body warmth.
Right.
I also have one of my recent very favorite, and this is a latex flogger.
Ooh, yeah. That has a little bit more bite, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Isn't that nice though?
Mm-hmm. I
Even the
fucking love it.
handle is rubber.
Yeah. So where did you get this one?
One was a gift from, look how good that looks, like black
I
and red.
know.
Wow, that is gorgeous. I just need like a different backdrop. Anyways, I'm sorry, I'm just always looking at that stuff. But I got this one from Goddess Particle, one of my partners,
Mm-hmm.
and I bought the pair for it. So I actually have two because
Mm-hmm.
I like the Florentine. I like
Yeah.
to use both.
Right.
And then when they're a little warmer, ready for a little bite, I like to bring out my crop.
Yeah.
Um,
What does it say on it? I caught some lettering.
it's just the brand.
Okay.
This is like a real crop. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
a BDSM crop because
Right.
the BDSM crops suck.
Oh my
So
goodness.
those ones that you get on Amazon, they're not good.
The tips break so easy. Have you found
You
that?
need a real
Like
crop.
right where they connect.
Yeah,
Like,
so look at this thing. You look at
mm,
this thing. I'm trying to focus on it. Okay. This thing is like very well made. There's no way
mm-hmm.
this is getting out of it.
Right.
One thing I want to talk about here with the crop, most people are like terrified of it, and
Yeah.
with reason, because if you don't know how to use the crop, you can easily make someone hate it, like not in the good way.
Yeah.
So, for all baby Dommes out there, please learn to use the crop before you traumatize somebody. Because if I had $1 for
Yes.
every guy that comes in and sees the crop, like, not the crop, not the crop, and I'm like,
I
would
think it's
you
because they don't
allow me?
know like the tip. They don't know
Yeah,
how to strike with it,
you have to
right?
like hit with this at the beginning and then get a little more spicier. You can't just
Yeah.
go in with the whole thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's not good. Then when they're ready for a little more, I come in with my little tail.
Ooh, yeah.
This is very nice. I like to be very flowy with
Mm-hmm.
my tools. This is actually also Goddess Particles. She gave it to me because I wanted to practice before I got like a pair custom from this store,
Right.
which is a seller from FetLife, and I, for the life of me, cannot remember the name of the account.
Mm-hmm.
I'll link it later on the comments.
Okay.
Extremely well made, great quality. She's had these for years.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're really, really, really ready, before I send them out to subspace,
Mm-hmm.
we got the famous bullwhip.
Yeah.
This thing will, I don't know if you can hear it. I don't know if you can
You
hear
can
it
hear it
crack
a
from there
little. Yeah.
a little bit. But this thing is amazing. It's a
Mm-hmm.
finisher for me for sure. Not
Yeah.
a lot of people can take it, but you can hit with the bullwhip without drawing blood.
Oh, yes.
So give it a try, guys. Let's give
Yeah.
it a try.
And start small with things that cover a
Yeah.
wide area. Like, you know how she was talking about kind of starting with the flogger? There's a reason, right? The more
Yeah.
educated you get, the more knowledge you have. Well, the floggers cover a larger surface area, right? So you're not feeling like this condensed, like one little small area. So instead of you feeling like pain in one tiny little area and a lot of it, you just feel a lot spread out over a larger surface area. right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, my favorite impact tool are my hands.
Mm,
There's nothing like a good spanking, a
yeah.
good grabbing, a good pulling,
Hmm.
fingers going places. Like,
Yeah.
hands are always, I'm actually kind of getting into a little bit of like just no tool dominance.
Okay.
And sometimes I feel very like primal in that sense. Like, I
Hmm.
want to show dominance without having to show any tools.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like raw, it's like very primitive and like
Hmm.
go back to basics. It's all energy,
Yes.
and I think that's like really hot. So I've been getting into
Yes.
that lately, but
I love it
I
too.
love the floggers because they can get really technical, they can
Hmm.
get really flowy.
Yeah.
It's just fun,
Right.
meditative as well for me and for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, for sure. And that all goes back to kind of like therapy session, right? You're there
Mm-hmm.
for a reason, they're there for a reason. And the power exchange can be a very beautiful thing, but it's a matter of communicating so that the power is exchanged between both of you. And it's not just like one person has all the power and they're just holding it in, not communicating. It's a
Mm-hmm.
more positive experience if you're open and you communicate with the person that you're topping or bottoming, right?
Yeah.
Like you're
I'm
not just going through the
actually
motions.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to um thinking of developing like a new way of connecting with somebody before they come into the dungeon.
Hmm.
And I'm developing like a series of questions that are like
Right,
completely non-sexual
right.
that can help me like kind of get a sense of who they are, what they're looking
Hmm.
for, whether what they lack, and maybe
Right.
like places in their mind that I can access.
Yeah.
Because it's like completely cerebral to me,
Hmm.
and you can create a really deep connection with somebody. And I look to create connections with my subs.
Right,
There's no wall between us. Like,
right.
I mean, I'm polyamorous. I want to connect with my subs if they
Right.
allow it. And what safest place than your dominatrix, your mistress that is there to make you feel good, but
Yeah.
also I play that role. Like, I'll listen
Right.
to you
Right.
because I think it's important that I know what's going on in
Mm.
your heart and your mind when you come in. Maybe like, we all have lives. Like, if someone comes in and then they really
Hmm.
need a spanking for it because they're having a really shitty day, like, I
Yeah.
want to hear about it. I'll
Yeah.
hear about it. I'll ask you about it. If you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. I think it's
Right.
important.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how you leave this session feeling like you are walking taller. You feel like a weight's been lifted. You feel like
Yeah.
you walked in with all of this like pressure and just condensed anxiety or pain or maybe just stress, overall stress. And then you leave and you're like, yeah, this is what it's
Yeah.
supposed to feel like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 That's right. And I love that. It's very fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes, 100%. So, whenever you are talking to them about impact play, what are some questions that you ask them to kind of know where you need to start?
I usually ask them if they have any injuries or any like medical conditions that I should know of, maybe
Right,
surgeries, maybe bad knees that can't crawl around. I
right.
also have like knee pads, so
Yeah.
crawling might not be a problem anymore.
Yeah.
um, Especially if I'm doing any like electro play, you have to
Mhm.
ask if they have a pacemaker and everything like
Oh, yeah.
that. Always want to make sure that I'm not hurting them in a bad way.
Right.
I usually also go around and touch them and kind of uh, test like their flexibility
Hmm.
and stuff like that. But I like to, when sessions to me are a lot like first dates,
Okay.
especially like a first time
Oh, yeah.
session. I consider that like a first date, and I like to treat it as such. Imagine you are like at a nightclub and you find somebody you want to dance with, and you kind of lock eyes, and you kind of get close, and there's like something going on. You just kind of don't talk a lot, just kind of feel it out and kind of vibe and kind of dance, and it kind of like progresses from there.
Right.
I feel like a session with me is basically kind of like the same vibe. It's they come in, we talk, and I will know immediately if they are open to connecting or if they're just there because they want to get their kink done.
Yeah.
And the person who is open to connect will get a very, very, very different mistress than the person who is like clearly just wants to do a
Fetish
sounding
outlet.
session or just want pegging or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, okay.
And we take both of those clients. Don't think that we don't cater to that, because we do. It's just
it's different.
Yeah. And
it's like having sex and making love.
Yes.
Just like that.
I
Just
think
like
we kind of
that.
share that. It's one of those things, like I always tell them, I can be the minute dom that you need, but my preference is the lifetime dom.
That's right. Yeah.
So
yeah, and I have found, like, I have current slaves that started out as like clients, and then they slowly became more of like a mix of both.
Right.
And the reason is because, listen, I have a business. At the end of the day, yes, it's my lifestyle, it's my passion, and blah blah blah, but I still have to pay for a dungeon. I have to pay for a lot of things. Like, this is how I like make all of this crazy stuff happens. Like right now, I want to buy a vacuum tower. That thing is gonna cost maybe like $1,400, like basic.
Yeah.
And I wanna offer this for people.
Right.
I want to get some crazy shit. I want my dungeon one day. You come in and it's like a museum.
Yeah.
Like a kinky museum, that there's like some artwork on the walls, and it's just like, wow, optical illusions and some out of this world stuff. But I need money for that.
Yeah. So, and you may go there for one thing and then find something else that's, ooh, piece of candy.
Exactly.
Like, I want to try that too.
Yeah. So when I find these slaves that, we obviously have a connection, we have a great time. If they can find a way to help provide to make those dreams come true, not just for me, because they're going to enjoy them too. Then that becomes like, we're going to do this for many, many years. Like, I'm open to that type of relationship. Always. It's much fulfilling than just do a session here, do a session there. Like, no, I want to connect.
That's
for sure.
I always compare that also to like, whenever you are having like a sexual relationship with someone, that first time may not be the best time. Like, I always enjoy sex like 6 months or a year later, whenever we know each other's spots, whenever there's chemistry and it's like growing. To me, that's a better experience, right?
I agree. No, 100%. I like to put my music. I like to feel the vibe. I like to have a snack. I know there's like a lot of doms that like to go and have dinner before they go to the dungeon and stuff. I can't.
Yeah. I like to have dinner after if I do something.
Oh my gosh.
That's whenever I do it. I like it after.
I like it after, like a little debrief. Now we have something to talk about, and we're not so obvious at a public place, just just a femme fatale looking, just looking into your eyes, and you're like spilling your drink, like, I don't know.
And if it's a positive experience for you both, you have more to talk about. You have a deeper connection. And the conversation's easier to flow like that, right? Because then you can use it as aftercare. I like to use those moments as aftercare, right?
One of my least favorite types of sessions are out calls. Oh my gosh. Listen, I'll only do an out call if I really need to.
Yeah.
It's like putting all my, like, the minimum, right, in a little suitcase, and then going into a hotel most likely, and just like kind of knocking on someone's door, going into someone else's place. First of all, sketchy as fuck.
Right.
Second, like, I'm not gonna be in my most dominant energy because I am like kind of concerned about my safety.
Right.
Like, you know, like I don't want to have to try to defend myself and like be sexy in high heels and lingerie most likely. So like, guys, just come to my dungeon. Like, you'll have a way better time.
And there's so
getting
much
into
more
all
there.
this furniture, getting into all this like crazy stuff I have going on, like Venus 2000. Like, you know, I'm about to get a vacuum bed because I'm like super ultra mega into latex, and I just get more into it by the day. So like, please just come see me.
Yeah.
Plus it's more expensive if I go to you. Don't be so lazy. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. That's like whenever I do touring rates and then do like local rates, I have to add on for that whatever, like a vehicle. If I am renting a car, you got to pay for like rooming, whatever that might be.
Driving. Oh my God. When they make me, don't make me drive, God. Just don't do it. I hate it. I'm gonna be in a bad mood when I get there. I'm telling you, like, I'll be like, all right, guys, all right, let's do this. Fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you want a dominatrix to drive 2 hours to Orlando? Like, that's where I do the fucking stupid alcohol. And, you know, to some random hotel, and like, you know, I upcharge the tits for it.
Yeah.
But they still like, no, just come. And I'm just
like, look at all of the fees, like on top of everything
gas,
else.
time.
Yeah.
Not just driving there, but driving back after doing the thing. Like, nah.
Yeah.
It's too much. I don't like it. Just come to my dungeon,
do you do any
please.
touring at all?
I do. I love doing tours. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I am trying really hard to save some money because I'm trying to buy some stuff.
Right.
And investing. But I think after I'm done with that, I think next year it's going to be lots of touring, lots of traveling, lots of chilling out a little bit. I want to visit. I want to go to Chicago. I want to go back to DomCon. I want to go to Ropecraft. I want to go to Kink Fest in Portland. Man, it's just so many places I want to go. I'm for sure gonna be at FedCon this year though, in St. Petersburg for sure. Just to have fun, really, a little bit. This year I'm really focused on making content.
Right.
Really establishing my brand online, you know, coming up with what if you go to the dommehouse.com right now, you will see kind of like the standard booking page for all the local doms that work at the Domme House. But this is going to eventually transition into like a clip site.
Okay.
Because it's going to be like the Domme House Productions. So I'm working in front of the camera, behind the camera, looking to collaborate with a lot of different artists. So if you're a content creator out there, if you want to film together, just hit me up, send me an email. Let's make it happen. Like,
now,
really
I know
good
we
quality
talked
content.
about your space, you being able to like rent it out to people too. So what is the best way if someone wants to rent your dungeon for, whether it be a session or if they just want to film content?
Right. So the best way right now, because I have two sites. I have mistressrogue.com, which is where people contact me directly. And there's the Domme House, which is where you can contact me as well. But that also is all the members of the house have access to that email. And it's basically just a website where you can book with everybody. But if you want to rent out the dungeon, just go to mistressrogue.com/rentals. And there's a very, very simple rental form that you can send me, and I'll respond like as soon as possible. I'm actually really on top of my emails and on top of my phone, so you'll probably get an answer within 24 hours to 3 days if it's a weekend.
Right. Sure.
Yeah, really open to that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to meet other people. I recently met the amazing Alicia Zadig, I think is how you say her name. She wrote this book, Yes, Mistress.
Mm-hmm.
She's an amazing person. She's so bubbly and like she has this like beautiful energy, and just the fact that she just came in to tour the dungeon. We had some coffee. Like, if you are a local Domme, or if you're traveling and just want to connect with other DOMs around the area, please reach out. Just want to make more friends. I love it. I love the community,
I like whenever people are supportive in the community and they want to educate instead of like belittle. Because
no, absolutely.
We all have different knowledge levels, right? Maybe one person has more knowledge on impact play and another person has more knowledge on needle play. Like, that's the beautiful thing about the industry. Like, you're not going to know everything. Yeah.
We're all different. We'll connect with different people. Even locally, all the domains that I've worked with, at the house, they all do something different.
Yeah.
We're not like actually competing with each other because we all have different specialties.
Yes.
So we all have just something different to offer, and I don't think two DOMs are the same at all. We all have different styles, and it's beautiful.
Yes. 100%. I fucking love it. So kind of, we were talking a little bit about aftercare, so tell me more about that. So after you have a session with somebody, especially if it's a new individual, what does aftercare look like?
It depends. It depends on a few things. The first thing being their vibe. And the energy. Again, it's all about reading the person. Some people don't actually want any aftercare.
I've had people opt out before too.
And that can be a little difficult, like as a top, because tops also need aftercare.
Positive reinforcement over,
Yeah, so it's just like when you do a scene and then you just kind of leave, is the same as if you just have sex with someone, you just put your clothes and go.
Yeah.
Equally damaging, So to me, aftercare can be very simple. I try to be very respectful of the other person, because the fact that we're doing a scene doesn't mean that we have to get intimate. It's not always intimate. So like I don't offer like cuddling after doing a session or anything like that. I have definitely like have someone laying down on the bed, and I will lay down next to them and cover them with a blanket and offer them some chocolate or something like that. That's kind of like the extent of what I do, especially if I'm not like in a DS relationship with somebody. Other forms of aftercare include just kind of debriefing, offering them a towel, wipey, or whatever. Offering them, you can go take a shower, and then we sit down and we talk and kind of debrief. We drink some water. Hugs, always. I always give people hugs. Because I don't know, I'm a hugger, I guess. And sometimes it's just a conversation, just how are you feeling, did you have a good time? I had a great time. What would you change? And sometimes they just kind of jump and ask like, oh, when can I come back? Like, would you like to do this again, etc.? Or, oh, next time maybe we can try X, Y, or Z. And And that's aftercare to me.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people are kind of scared of aftercare. I've had a lot of people be like, what is that? And it's because not enough people have the awareness that afterward it's okay to talk about it. It's like this taboo thing, right? Kind of like, oh, well, you can't talk about sex after you've had it yet. That's absolutely wrong. Like, you can absolutely talk about it, because how is the person that you have just had that connection with going to know what
if
they
you
did right,
liked it, yeah,
what they did wrong, what could be improved, if you want to be adventurous, you know what I mean? Like, we need that kind of information too.
We do. I do. I actually started keeping a little. I use Evernote app. It's like a note app. Keep a lot of things organized, and one of those I started having like a little notebook for every client.
Right. Yeah.
Or every sub, doesn't matter if it's an actual client or not, with all their information, their names, their age, do they have any like illnesses, do they have any injuries, so I don't have to feel like a stranger every time when they come in and like, oh, can you remind me, do you have injuries? You know, it's like not very personal. I want to get personal, so I keep notes, and I'm like, oh, this person really likes this thing, or oh, they told me the secret, or they told me something that was very intimate and I want to remember it, you know. Things like that. And I think those things really help. And you know, when it becomes too many people, before I started taking notes, it was getting a little overwhelming, because
like
then
the lines run together.
Like, I will remember that this person booked, and I clearly know that I've seen him a couple of times, but I cannot remember for the life of me what we did. And that's just like, damn, like, how many people have I seen? So I started taking notes. It's going better. Please come back.
Glad. And you know, that's what a lot of people don't understand too. Like, we're human too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. My memory is not great.
Oh my, I've done that several times myself. I even do it like if I'm watching a show. Like the other day I picked up a show because I was sick. I was like, well, I'm just gonna like be in bed and chill all day so that I don't prolong the illness, right? And I started watching this show, and I didn't remember that I had watched it before. And then I got like 5 episodes in, and I'm like, I've seen this.
Yeah, this looks familiar. Oh my God.
But yeah, no, I had no idea that I'd seen it before.
God.
So
yeah, that's definitely happened to me.
Oh my goodness.
Too much weed, man. Too much weed.
I'm gonna blame it on the stress and all the effort.
You know, I was like really tempted to take a hit before doing this, but I was like, you know what? Let me not do that.
We'll do it after.
After I have no. It's funny because I have another podcast after this. So today's podcast day, I was like, that's why I was like, okay, let's just do it all today.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So I want to ask you one more final question before I let you go. So my question is, whenever you are deciding kind of how you want to attempt the harder sessions, like the people that literally want you to physically like be over the top, like you're beating the shit out of them.
I love this.
What does aftercare look like in comparison? So what do you do different for those hard, like over the top sessions?
So let's say it's like a 2-hour session, right? I would usually have like 15 minutes of aftercare and cleanup and all that stuff. For like a 2-hour of like a harder session, for example, I'll probably like end the session like 20 minutes before the actual time that is done, so I can have more time for aftercare. And even then, like if I can go after the clock, you know, if I don't have any other appointments, like I will definitely like just let it go longer, you know, just give that extra time, because it takes extra energy. It just takes more emotional stuff, more of everything. So I always want to account for you know, sometimes they cry,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they just kind of like, it's kind of shocking sometimes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to make sure that they're safe,
Right.
and you know, make sure, because like, you know, subspace and all of this like chemical reactions that happen in your body is basically like a high.
Yes. 100%.
And I, you know, I've done very hardcore scenes, and I know for a fact that they can't drive possibly,
Yeah.
you know, after like maybe 20 minutes of like chilling out a little bit, and
Right.
you know, recouping. um Especially like people like to do poppers and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
or other like substances.
Mm-hmm.
uh
Which
so
always needs to be talked about. There needs to be lots of information. Like anybody
mhm.
that's listening, there's a lot of precautions for that kind of play too.
Yes, absolutely, especially health. You
Yes.
know, if you have any heart conditions, please don't do poppers.
Yes.
Don't, if you're gonna drive immediately after, please don't do poppers.
Right.
You
Yes.
know, uh, what's that called? Gosh, when your blood just goes to high blood pressure, please don't do poppers.
Yeah.
I can't do poppers. That shit just gives me a fucking throbbing headache that lasts for like 3 hours. Like,
Yeah.
God, I feel like I'm missing it. The FOMO is real, but hey,
Yeah.
you know, others can enjoy it. Not
Right.
me.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a provider. All good.
I love it. I love it.
Keeping it real.
And I mean, there's different kind of flavors for us too when it comes to that stuff. Like whenever
Hmm.
somebody is in subspace under us, that's like a drug for us too,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Right?
that's all
People
it
don't
takes.
understand that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Because for you to feel that power exchange and be like over this bottom and then being like willfully vulnerable, giving themselves, that makes me fucking high. That gets me excited, you know?
Yeah, you know, honestly, like coffee and an impact scene. Ooh,
Yeah.
mm,
That's all you need.
just give me a little cappuccino and let's go. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
just great.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
It gets you all wired up and bothered.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm weird.
No, no, you're not weird. So, if you guys have any more questions or anything about the process, about aftercare, don't be ashamed to like reach out. There's a lot of stuff that's available on Google. You can do quick Google searches. Now, don't trust everything you see, obviously, because there are some people
Yeah,
out
for
there that just like
sure.
to talk out of their ass.
Yeah,
Um,
this is true.
but if you are like truly wanting more information, you can leave us questions. You can, if you want a session, even contact Mistress Rogue. She
Hmm.
has a lot of availability. You can schedule something. And if you have any questions about aftercare or the process at all, I mean, there are plenty of DOMs out there that are educated and that want to teach you safety, that want to teach you what really happens. And they're not just like this over the top, like fetish lying person. Like they will be
Yeah, like a
intimate with you.
fantasy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I've
Yeah,
had,
I like the real stuff, the real kink.
yes, me too.
Hmm.
Me too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can do both, but like if you want a watered down version, I got you, but
Right. It's not as exciting. It's not as intimate.
yeah.
And it's one of those things where we enjoy it more whenever we have a connection with someone, right?
Hmm.
I know I
Hmm.
do.
I feel like they would too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's a trust issue with most of them. They're like,
absolutely.
well, I'm kind of scared to let you know me on that level. Well, I'm going to tell you, if you find someone that is truly into therapy and truly into providing and they love what they do, you're going to find a good environment that you want to keep coming back to
Hmm.
because you're going to keep chasing that high, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, like there's like again, there's different schools of DOMs. There's
Oh,
DOMs that
yes.
like truly hate men. They
Oh, yeah.
just they can't wait to just, you know, beat the fuck out of somebody and
Yeah.
get paid for it because that is like retribution almost, you know?
Yes, 100%.
I don't like that.
If that's what you want, cool, find that.
If that's what you want,
Right.
that's great. You know, I'll do it. But I mean, I'm gonna enjoy it in a different way.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't have that, like, I don't hate my clients. I love my clients.
Yes.
And
100%.
that's the difference.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Forbidden Depths. Again, Mistress Rogue, thank you for being so amazing, giving us the ups and downs of impact play. And again, if you don't follow her on Twitter, make sure you do, because at Mistress Rogue FL for Florida, because you know.
Mm-hmm. And also, sorry, and also Master Rogue Master Rogue FL. I have 2 accounts now.
Oh yeah. Oh, I just seen that in your bio, right?
Yes, because I'm
gonna follow that now.
Thank you. I actually came out as gender fluid. So
what? Congratulations. Yeah. I did not know. When did this happen?
Thank you. You know, I think it has been happening in my mind for a while. And then I was just like, you know, lots of doubt about like branding and, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
But then I said, well, let me make a backup Twitter account as Mistress Rogue FL, and that's the place where I'm gonna post like whatever I want to post. You know, it's not about just Mistress Rogue's branding
and feminine side, right?
Exactly. And I do have that feminine side. Let's not like cancel her at all. Right. But I also have this very mask side of me that is just like, it's there. You know, and I want to show both.
Yes.
Because both are me. You know? So yeah. So if you want to follow more about professional Mistress Rogue FL and more of personal Master Rogue FL.
Yeah, I fucking love it. Awesome. Awesome. We will see you on the next episode of Forbidden Depths. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Hey, it's Queen Frostbitten again, your host. I just want to remind you that you can follow us on YouTube at Forbidden Depths. That's FORBIDDENDEPTHS. Or over on Twitter at the number 4 BIDDENDPODCAST. Remember to always stay educated, consensual, and safe. We'll see you on the next show.